Welcome to the Instant Trivia Podcast, episode 1392, where we ask the best trivia on the internet. Let's get started. The Caribbean island of Bonaire is a municipality of what country? Answer: the Netherlands. It forms part of the ABC Islands, the westernmost island group in the Leeward Antilles. What is the name of the food that was miraculously provided to the desert-dwelling Israelites of the Old Testament? Manna. Which element of the periodic table is named after a titan of Greek myth? Prometheum. What former sitcom co-stars play the two lead boys in 2004's The Polar Express movie? Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari. What year was the first computer mouse prototype built? 1964. Which vintage player is known as the first superstar of the NFL? Red Grange. What geographical boundary was first surveyed in 1763 by Charles and Jeremiah? The Mason-Dixon line. What does the ozone layer protect the Earth against? Ultraviolet light. What is comedian Stephen Colbert's full birth name? Stephen Tyrone Colbert. What U.S. president signed the bill that began Medicaid benefits? Lyndon B. Johnson. What color flag is waved to indicate caution in auto racing? Yellow. Where in the U.S. is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier located? Answer: Arlington National Cemetery, Arlington, Virginia. What classic novel's subtitle is The Modern Prometheus? Frankenstein. What is the more common name for scapula? Shoulder blade. Which member of the Rat Pack was married to a Kennedy? Peter Lawford. Which treaty ended the war between Germany and the Allied powers in World War I? Answer: Treaty of Versailles. May Day is not considered a public holiday in England unless it falls on which day of the week? Monday. What African country in which the entire population speaks the same language? Somalia. The Big Dipper is part of what constellation? Ursa Major. According to a famous SNL catchphrase, what's the only prescription for Christopher Walken's fever? More cowbell. Which president of South Africa ordered Nelson Mandela's release from prison? De Klerk. What does Dakota mean in the Sioux language? Friend. Lilongwe is the capital of which country? Malawi. What company publishes the Walking Dead comic book series? Image Comics. Who did Lionel Richie duet with on the 1981 #1 smash Endless Love? Diana Ross. What was the leading cause of death in the late 19th century? Tuberculosis. Along with Indiana Avenue and Illinois Avenue, what is the third red property on a monopoly board? Kentucky Avenue. Which U.S. landmark was once named Long Acre Square? Answer: Times Square. It was once named Long Acre Square after London's carriage district. What classic novel was originally published with the title Fiesta in the UK? The Sun Also Rises. The word quarantine indicates how many days of isolation? 40. What sport was Arthur Ashe associated with? Tennis. What is the capital of Kyrgyzstan? Bishkek. From what language did English borrow the word dungarees? Hindi. What type of trees yield the resin used to produce turpentine? Pine trees. In the movie Live and Let Die, what ability does Solitaire lose after sleeping with Bond? Her psychic ability. What general betrayed the U.S. after being passed up for a promotion? Benedict Arnold. Which U.S. state's highest mountain is Gannett Peak? Wyoming. The okapi belongs to what family of animals? Giraffidae. How many episodes of Growing Pains were made? 166. Who was the only slave ever known to have stayed in Thomas Jefferson's household? Sally Hemings. In 1968, what became a required part of the automobile's safety equipment in the U.S.? The seatbelt. What is in the red data list? Threatened species. What TV character sings the song Smelly Cat? Phoebe Buffay. Whose vice president was Nelson A. Rockefeller? Gerald Ford. Jimmy Connors won the men's doubles at the 1973 Wimbledon. With which partner? Ilie Nastase. What's the world's most common second language? English. Which of his 10 fingers is God using to give Adam life on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel? His index finger. Approximately how many kilometers are there in a nautical mile? 1.85. Which U.S. president delivered the first televised inaugural address? Harry S. Truman. What instrument is jazz musician Charlie Mingus mostly associated with? Double bass. That's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Come back tomorrow for more exciting trivia.